Today on the Roxom Report, Bitcoin hit a new all-time high above $124,000. Crypto exchange Bullish beats expectations with their IPO. Google Play has new rules for crypto wallets, and Norway's sovereign fund has raised their exposure to Bitcoin. All that and much more. Plus, we have Peter Lane, CEO of Jacoby Asset Management, with us on the show today. That's all coming up right now on the Roxom Report. Welcome to today's episode of the Roxom Report. Today is Thursday, the 14th of August, 2025. I'm Ione Butler. Right now, Bitcoin is trading at $120,897. And today, shortly, we will be joined by Peter Lane. He'll be here in a minute. But first, why don't we take a look at how the markets are looking today? Anton, our producer above, would you mind sharing that for us? Yes. Now, next up, it's the Market Watch. Okay, what do you think of that stinger? It's nice, huh? All right, let's have a look at how the markets are performing in Europe. First up, we have France's CAC 40 at 7,850 points, up about 0.6%. The DAX Performance Index over in Germany, 24,000 points, up about 0.71%. We've also got Euro Stoxx 50. That's up 0.6% again. I can't remember where that was. I guess that's Europe. In the UK, we've got the FTSE 100 at 9,171, up 0.07%, and the Stoxx 600 is up almost 0.5%. So slow, positive moves up over in Europe. Anton, that look good to you?
That looks good. Let's go over to US.
See how the US is doing. We haven't thought about or talked about it for a minute. Okay, industrial Dow Jones Industrial Average up just over 1%. The Nasdaq Composite at 21,000 points, up just 0.14%. The S&P 500 up 0.32%. Coinbase is doing all right, up 1.36%. Then we have MicroStrategy down slightly, down 1.14%. NVDA Corp down 0.85%, and Tesla down 0.47%. So not too bad. Things are looking pretty tame. And let's have a look at how Bitcoin has been moving. We're going to dive into a story about reaching a new all-time high yesterday. Whoop, whoop.
We will, but a surprising little downturn right here. I expected it to be higher at the time of the show. It was looking real strong this morning. Yeah,
down almost 2%. Wait, I'm very confused by these. Down 2% in the last 24 hours, or just from the all-time high? What were we at most of yesterday? I guess there's like an average throughout the day, right?
Around 122, 123 yesterday, and then today bumps up to 124.
It was today it bumped up to 124?
Yeah, just early this morning.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, not terrible though. It would be nice to have it sitting at around that all-time high level. But yeah, we can dive into that.
Let's go to commercial and we'll come back and talk about the all-time high.
Sounds good. We'll be right back.
Security matters. Zappo Bank, the only way to bank your Bitcoin. Apply now at zappobank.com.
Welcome back to the show. Thank you for your patience. I'm pleased to welcome one of our favourite guests to the show, Peter Lane from Jacoby Asset Management. He chuckled there, but you actually are. I very much enjoyed talking to you.
Very kind.
How are you, Peter? Other than a bit flustered.
Hot and sweaty. The trains were rubbish. The tube was rubbish. It's too hot.
It is.
But I'm glad I'm finally hearing your aircon's pumping away.
The aircon is a nice touch.
But yeah.
Exciting things happening in the Bitcoin space today with Nakamoto, the company Nakamoto. Let's chat about that.
Yeah. So this is one of the big Bitcoin treasury stories of late, really. So David Bailey, who leads Bitcoin Inc., he sort of manages Bitcoin Magazine, Bitcoin Conference. He orange-pilled Donald Trump, had him talk at the Bitcoin Conference in Nashville last year, just 2 weeks after Trump had been shot. That's when Trump really declared himself crypto and Bitcoin friendly, and David was really influential in that. So they decided they were going to do their own Bitcoin treasury company. Now, they're involved in a lot of Bitcoin treasury companies.
As investors?
As investors,
Got it.
as advisors. So what they've got a company called UTXO, which is their hedge fund, and I think it's the top performing hedge fund in the world at the minute because they've invested really early into some really good Bitcoin treasury companies. So they are really influential with Metaplanet. Some of their team are in the Metaplanet team. They're really influential for the Smarter Web company, who have been an absolute phenomenal success in this country so far. And they raised, I think, over like $760 million to do a Bitcoin treasury strategy of their own in 3 weeks.
Wow.
So they're just waiting on the completion of the merger with the company they're merging with on Nasdaq. And then David Bailey's been widely saying he's going to smash by $760 million of Bitcoin. Yeah. So whether he does or, he probably has been sat there crying at the price rise. But huge thing happening in Bitcoin. David's one of the most influential people in Bitcoin, really. Yeah. He's got the biggest Bitcoin marketing business that are also attached to this. So, there's one thing having a really good product, but there's another thing having a massive distribution media network to talk about that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of excitement about this particular treasury strategy because they already know treasury strategies well, given that they're very well in with some of the other really good ones. They've got Michael Saylor's advice on tap, you would imagine. So, they could be one of the biggest ones in the world in a fairly short space of time and due to complete, I think, today.
That would be exciting. Wow. What is the product? So you'd mentioned before when we were chatting about they are kind of reverse merging into Kindly.
Yep.
And so can you explain a bit about sort of the relevance of that and how that works?
So there's two ways these treasury companies generally become listed on an exchange. One, you IPO. So you create your company, you make your application to whatever regulator or whatever exchange you want to go onto, and then you do an initial public offering for that company. So that's one way to do it. That's it's not cheap, usually not quick. You have to almost start from scratch. Or you approach a company that's already a listed entity. So Kindly is a holistic medical company that's already Nasdaq listed. So what you would then do is look to reverse merge and do a reverse takeover of that entity. You still have to go through the scrutiny of the regulator. You still have to go through the SEC or the FCA, whoever you're going to do it with. But it's just another way to become a listed business without IPOing your own business.
I see.
So they did a fundraise with a prospectus to then go and do what they're doing. They raised an unbelievable amount of money in a very short space of time. So I think it was 750 odd million, for instance, in 3 weeks. So there's not many people that could pull in that much money that quickly.
Yeah.
And these guys, given they're incredibly well known, so they've been in Bitcoin, I think for, 13 years. They've been running the Bitcoin conference for a few years.
Oh, yeah, they must know everybody.
Yeah, they know everybody. So they really, for me, if there's one company that, they know how to do it because they've been watching other companies do it, they've invested and they've got advisors within other treasury companies around the world doing a really good job, but also they've got the biggest marketing machine in Bitcoin. So, really interesting one to watch and play out.
Definitely. And what is so you mentioned about the marketing, which is great, and the network to talk about the products. And what would be the product? Is it the Bitcoin treasury company or is it the Kindly, the business? Like how much of it is business, how much of it is
when you look at all these treasury companies, their existing business becomes fairly secondary.
Right.
So if you look at MicroStrategy, now Strategy, they are a business in themselves. But you don't really talk about them because of their data and electronics business. You talk about them because of their Bitcoin treasury strategy, which has really driven their share price. So Kindly is, I'm sure it's a good business at doing holistic health planning and stuff. But you wouldn't have heard of them in this instance unless they were going to do a merger with a great big Bitcoin behemoth like they are.
Yeah.
So that company will carry on operating as a healthcare company, but also have a Bitcoin treasury strategy, which will be run by and managed by the Bitcoin Inc. team.
Interesting.
So there's a guy, I think he's called Tim. I met him in Vegas. He's the CEO of the medical company. Really nice guy. And I think he's a bit of a Bitcoiner. And I think this landing on his laps, from God, really.
I bet. It's interesting because I have heard that there's a lot of people in the Bitcoin space that are interested in like holistic health and meditation and that kind of wellness. So that could also be, this has given a huge amount of publicity and attention to this company, obviously, and it also might be very good for that part of the business too.
Yeah, well, I think if you look at the Smarter Web company, I would imagine they're an operating business with a web design and build-out business. So now they've got a Bitcoin treasury strategy. They've had one of the most successful launches of any company in in history. But I would imagine it's done wonders for traction for their Bitcoin, for their web business.
Yeah.
So every Bitcoiner would now be going to but to get their web designing done, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So I would imagine it's it's great for the secondary part of the business, which used to be the primary part, but it certainly would help.
Absolutely.
Because there's so many more people. Like I'd never heard of the Smarter Web company until they launched a Bitcoin treasury company, and I imagine there's millions of people in the same situation. So I hope their traffic has gone through the roof.
I would assume
good for them.
Has to have, yeah.
And similarly with Kindly, I'd imagine they'll now be one of the most well-known holistic healthcare companies in America.
Yeah.
Well, certainly within the Bitcoin world.
Yeah.
For sure.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a big one. So they'll obviously be talking about this. They've got all the Bitcoin treasury experts that they have working within other companies. They always do, podcasts. They're always doing talks about it. And what you'll find is the Bitcoin treasury companies, even though they are in competition, they're not really in competition because they all do well if Bitcoin does well, and Bitcoin will do well if they're all buying Bitcoin. And so it's a funny situation whereby it's not as if like Tesco's versus Sainsbury's situation.
Yeah,
It's
where we're going to get the share of.
Yeah, you might have some competition between them, but ultimately, if Bitcoin goes up, everyone will win.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting dynamic.
What do you think these sort of strategy sages like Michael Saylor, what kind of advice do you think they give? Like, what are these conversations?
I think the advice, the smartest advice for me is buy as much and as quick as you can. Because what you don't want to get into a situation of, as soon as your share price is going up, you can raise money at a higher valuation, therefore you can buy more Bitcoin. And what you don't want is your share price to then come off because you seem to have lost momentum. If your share price then dips down below from where you've done previous fundraisers, so it's not very attractive for the investors you've got in for them to go and raise money at a lower price than you bought in at. So what you really need is momentum, and you need to buy aggressively and regularly, and you want the market to expect you to buy aggressively and regularly. So if you look at every Monday morning, it seems, strategy, well, first of all, it starts off in Japan, right? So if you look at Monday morning when you wake up, Metaplanet have usually bought some. Then it gets to the European time zones. Smarter Web company, H100, have usually bought some. Gets to the American or the Canadian time zones, strategy buys every single Monday, it seems. As soon as Saylor puts a tweet out saying about his chart, they're buying. Then there's the Canadians that buy at that time. So you can see every week these companies religiously buy Bitcoin regardless of the price. That then means the market is expectant of them to carry on doing that. And if they carry on doing that, their share price will be stabilized. And when the Bitcoin price then shoots up, which we expect it to do, then their share price goes up. So another one you think of, the French guys, Capital B now, they used to be called the Blockchain Group. Again, relentlessly buy on a regular basis, and the market now expects them to buy on a regular basis. So as long as you set that expectation in the market, you become known and the market will price you accordingly.
That's very interesting. So how does it work? Because we've been hearing about this... what do they call it? Like the flywheel, where you do the capital raises and based off the price of the share price has gone up, so now you're raising capital. So that makes sense to me. You do that as like a set. You do this every however often share capital raises happen. But with the consistent buying, where is that money coming from to buy it? Do they kind of?
You don't deploy everything at once. Typically.
Got it.
So let's say, for instance, you raise 30 million. You probably would stagger that because you don't want to raise too regularly. Yeah. Because you can't just, raise every day, right? Because there won't be people potentially to buy. So what you want to do is you want to stagger that over a period of when you're going to do a next raise. So let's say you raise 30 million, for instance, you might buy, 5 million Bitcoin. And then the next week, another 6 million. And you want to just set an expectation that you're going to continue buying and buying and buying and buying. That's then what drives your share price up. The more Bitcoin you get, if Bitcoin then pumps, then that's all good. And then you do another raise once you're at another price level.
I see. So David Bailey wants to smash buy all of this at once. Would your recommendation be to break that down, or what are your thoughts on the smash buying?
So there's two trains of thought actually. So when GameStop were talking about doing it, they publicly said, we're not going to announce to the market when we're going to buy. they failed, really. Metaplanet, they came out and Dylan Leclerc said, we're going to tell everyone when we're going to buy. So they come out and they're fully transparent.
Why do GameStop fail?
Well, they raised a load of money to buy a load of Bitcoin, but they never bought much Bitcoin.
Okay.
So their share price has gone down. So in terms of, they raised money to do it, but they didn't execute on it like they probably should have.
I see.
So where you have Metaplanet, they are relentless. So they will tell you they're going to buy Bitcoin. They tell you they're going to raise money, and they're going to tell you so they don't care what the price is. They're going to keep buying it all the way up to the top because they believe in the strategy. So if you're going to try and time the market as a Bitcoin strategy CEO, you won't get the faith from the people that really, really believe in it's always going to go up, like Saylor does. So if you're going to buy...
And that's interesting, because I have seen some of his buy-in times and been like, why now? But to your point, yeah, exactly.
He's setting the expectation that I'm going to buy forever.
Yeah.
And so that's what sets the investors' expectations of him. So if I'm going to see there's a CEO who's going to try and time the market, or a CEO that's religious, just buying whatever, you can expect the guy to carry on buying regardless. Or if you've got a CEO that's going to time the market, you never know what he's going to do. And if he gets it wrong, then what's going to happen to his share price? Well, that'll probably capitulate because nobody will have confidence in his strategy.
Or hers.
Or hers, yeah. I don't know of any women doing it yet.
I know.
There's one.
So
there's one in Canada that based it on Solana.
Okay.
It's run by a brilliant woman called Leah Wald.
Okay.
She was the CEO of Valkyrie, the ETF business in America. And she then went and joined a company that was called Cypherpunk Holdings.
Okay.
And they were some old boys with a load of Bitcoin from back in the day. They had a listed company in Canada, and she joined, and I even had a conversation with her when she just started, and she was saying, I'm going to try and turn it into like a MicroStrategy for Solana.
Interesting.
And she's done a great job with that. So they now branch out and they do all sorts of other things with Solana. So they're a staking provider for some of the ETFs. They buy their own nodes. They basically work within the entire Solana ecosystem, and they've got this Sol Strategies as their vehicle that's a listed entity to do it.
Interesting.
So that's the only woman I know that's doing it.
But there's not a Bitcoin strategy
company. But not that I know of. There might be, but not that I know of.
Yeah, okay. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I personally think this is going to carry on. I speak to people in the UK probably every fortnight, and they approach me saying, do you know anyone that's looking to do it? Do you want to help with one? We're looking to do this. Have you got any ideas? So I think they'll carry on being these pop up in every country around the world for the next, at least couple of years.
And what are your thoughts about being a Bitcoin strategy company or being advisors in these companies? Do you advise?
Well, I love the idea of it. So one of the issues I have, we were talking about with the FCA's not allowing Bitcoin ETFs and ETNs at the minute. They're going to open up ETNs later on in the year.
Yeah.
I said to them, I could just spin this up as a Bitcoin treasury company, and that'd be more risky than our Bitcoin ETF. Is that okay? And they were like, well, that's the rules.
Yeah,
and so,
weird.
maybe we could just spin Jacoby up as a Bitcoin treasury company and have our Bitcoin asset management business on the side. And therefore, we're fully in the Bitcoin world. So if anyone's watching this that's an investor that wants to take that,
there you go.
call me.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. It's the FCA stuff is so weird. It's like kind of jumping through hoops in this one regard, but then it's like, well, then what about this? We had a call with them yesterday. Okay.
I've still got PTSD from it, I think.
Oh no.
So
that's
we'll see where we get to. We'll see where we get to. But what in my opinion, if a regulator, not just the FCA, but any regulator, if they're then saying, right, Bitcoin is now okay, well, they should make it okay in every legal form and let the consumers decide how they choose to buy it. If I now have a free market and I can choose how I want to buy it, then if I want to buy a treasury company, I will. If I want to buy an ETF, I will. If I want to buy an ETN, I will. If I want to buy spot, I will. But that's my decision. So I'm basing my decision based on all the options I've got available. I'm not being shoehorned into anything. And so I can't understand why any regulator, they either ban it completely or they open it up completely. There shouldn't be any mid-ground.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't be shoehorning you into something that might not be right for you.
Yeah.
So that's a frustration I have. And in all my years of wealth management, you have the FCA looking over your shoulder to ensure that absolutely everything you do is around putting consumer outcomes first. So I would expect that of a regulator. So if they're not going to do that, well, they're, how hypocritical is that? So they're making wealth managers do it, but they're not going to do it themselves.
Yeah.
So sometimes what you find in bureaucratic environments is there's rules upon rules upon rules.
Yeah.
And then those rules get too difficult to undo. So they do what's quick and easy, which might not be in the best interest of the consumers.
Yeah.
But that's the world we live in, unfortunately.
Yeah. Hopefully there has been sort of positive progress for Bitcoiners. There has been,
and I think the Bitcoin treasury companies have driven this. So the Bitcoin treasury companies have effectively bypassed the FCA.
Yeah.
So what they're doing, the FCA can't really do an awful lot about, because you are allowed as a listed entity to have a treasury strategy if you choose to, and if that so happens to be Bitcoin, well, you're allowed to do that. So they've probably forced the FCA's hand in having to allow people to have some alternative routes of access to Bitcoin, because we were in a situation whereby the FCA couldn't stop treasury companies in the UK, but also they're stopping everything else. So they're forcing people into, effectively they're forcing people into MicroStrategy, Smarter Web Company, Coincilium, and all the other Bitcoin treasury companies. And that's an even worse place to be forcing people into one option.
Right.
So, in my opinion, they should just say Bitcoin's okay now. So any way you wish to buy it that's legal is okay.
Yeah.
And I can't fathom how that isn't the case.
Yeah. Any prediction for when that might be, or do you not think it'll ever happen here in the UK?
So it will. I don't know. I mean, it's a difficult one to come with. So they will. Crypto ETNs will be reviews to be sold in October the 8th. I think there needs to be fund rule reviews and recognition. So when the FCA did their consultation recently, 2/3 of respondents said they wanted ETFs. So what's the point in doing that sort of question to the market,
if you're not going to
having the answer
Yeah.
and then discounting the answer?
I know, that doesn't make any sense.
So what's the point in the consultation if
Yeah.
you're not going to listen to people? And that's the issue. Sometimes you get regulators, or sometimes you get governments that think they know better than what the people say. So what's the point in doing the consultation if you're not going to do it?
Maybe it's just giving lip service to we do the consultation, but we're still going to do whatever we want anyway. That's probably just,
And it looks like that's going to be the case. So they need to do more work on fund rules. So typically, as I think we've spoken about before, a fund wouldn't just be one asset in it. So it would have a spread of assets. So that rule needs addressing. And what you'll find is these rules were written before Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. They don't seamlessly fit, which is why the ETNs fit, because you could have an unregulated debt structure that tracks Bitcoin, but you can't have a fund that tracks Bitcoin. So I think the FCA see there's a grey area here, and they see that they're allowing other less safe ways. It's just nuts. So they're allowing less secure and less familiar ways of buying Bitcoin for retail investors than the most safe and secure and familiar way. Like that's the one they're excluding is the one they should be allowing.
Yeah.
So we'll see where we get to.
Yeah. It's wacky. It really is
tell me
wacky.
About welcome to my world.
Yeah. I'm not surprised that you're PTSD from the calls.
I think I do.
It must be so hard to kind of, I would find myself being like quite frustrated in these situations, and you're kind of having to play ball, but it's frustrating at the same time. I would really struggle.
After the call, I had to go my son's 4.
Yeah.
I went and found him and made him snuggle up with me and watch a movie.
Oh, bless
I needed to just feed my soul.
Oh, bless you.
He was like, get off. I'm like, come here.
I need to
to cheer up. Yeah.
Oh, bless. That's really funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now I'm kind of curious to talk about some price stuff. So, let's get into the news. First up, we're going to go to our top Bitcoin price story, making waves today, top of the block.
Okay.
Bitcoin has climbed to a new all-time high, crossing $124,000. The surge comes as investors grow more confident the US Federal Reserve will soon cut interest rates. In early Asian trading, Bitcoin rose more than 3% to $124,457. That beats the record set just last month. Analysts say the rally is being fueled by strong institutional buying, steady demand for Bitcoin exchange-traded funds, and expectations of easier monetary policy. US inflation data showed a July consumer price increase of 2.7%, strengthening the case for a September rate cut. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has called for a series of cuts, possibly starting with a half-point move. The Trump administration is also pushing a pro-crypto agenda. Recent executive orders aim to let retirement plans invest in digital assets and to stop banks from cutting ties with lawful crypto firms. Regulators have also eased concerns by clarifying rules around certain blockchain projects. Institutional interest remains strong, with ETFs now holding over 6% of Bitcoin's total value market. Okay, exciting times for these all-time highs. I think we've kind of covered all of the reasons of why that potentially happened there. Would you agree, disagree? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it was great. So I was in America last week, so my body clock's not quite right. So I've been waking up about 2 o'clock in the morning every day.
Yeah.
So last night when it was like, I think it was 4 o'clock, I was like, I wonder what the price is. Because I went to bed and it was getting there, then it was 124. I thought, oh, that's great. So do you remember when we spoke before, it'll bounce around in certain ranges?
Yeah.
And then we're clearly at the top of that range. And at some point, their resistance will go, and then there'll be another jump. So the only thing to watch out for is I think there's still a CME futures gap, which is the futures price. That closes on a Friday.
Okay.
So the Bitcoin price obviously carries on over the weekend. So if the Bitcoin price jumps over a weekend and starts higher than the Friday closing of the CME futures price, there's a gap.
Okay.
So 99% of times, the Bitcoin price will retrace to what the gap was. So I think the gap was like 118 something, but maybe a little bit lower. So I would imagine if history carries on, that we'll probably retrace back to that price at some point.
Okay.
But it's great that now we've tested that 123 boundary and we've peaked over that. So 124.5 is the new price to go at. And I think really, really positive news coming out of it. America's just leading the way on this, right? They're pushing it. They're trying to get rates down. They're trying to do good things for growth in America. They're really, really pushing the pro-crypto agenda. They're really pushing the stable coins because I think the stable coin will stabilize the dollar. I think they realize they need that as a priority.
Yeah.
And they're really not messing around with pro-crypto regulatory change.
They are not.
And that's really driving. When I was in Nashville at the Bitcoin conference when Donald Trump spoke.
Yeah.
And generally politicians would say what they think is going to get them voted in. But he said he was going to be pro-Bitcoin, and he's certainly done that.
Yeah. I wonder what David Bailey said to him.
I'd love to know.
It'd be cool to be a fly on the wall in that conversation.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, I think it was meant to be. I think there was rumor Elon Musk was going to go there as well. But it turned into like a political rally for Donald Trump because he was, fully in the midst.
Elon Musk was supposed to be at the event.
At the event and on with him.
Okay.
But I'm not sure exactly what the format was meant to be or what they wanted it to be. But it would have been cool if Elon came out with Trump at the time. Elon's gone a little bit off the boil as a Bitcoiner.
Oh really? Why? What's been going on?
He just doesn't talk about it, does he?
That's
right. He just doesn't talk about it, and I think he's given a few little hints recently because he's obviously against raising the debt ceiling, which Donald Trump did. That's why they've appeared to have fallen out.
Yeah.
But then somebody said about I can't remember what it was, but he liked a post that Bitcoin's the only way.
Yes,
and that was the first time he'd kind of publicly interacted with anything pro-Bitcoin.
Yeah.
He'd obviously bought it back in 2020, 2021 or whenever it was. But since then he seems to have, he's gone quiet on it. But, still got a lot.
Yeah.
But I just think, I think David Bailey must have got into the Trump team and said this is going to be good for America, and it's pro-growth, it's pro-prosperity for American people. And if you think the American dream is the American dream, one thing about Bitcoin, it's open to everybody. It isn't a closed-off secret society. It is quite literally open source. Anybody on the planet can get involved.
Yeah.
And I think that is a really good message to give out to the people that believe in the American dream. And so, they really raised a lot of money from the Bitcoin and crypto world, and he got a lot of votes from it.
He did.
And he's doing what he said he's doing. And the only thing you can ask of a politician is to do what they said they're going to do. And I think it's unbelievable sometimes politicians can say something in the lead up to an election and then do the absolute opposite, but not have any accountability.
Yeah.
Like if I applied for a job and I said I can do this, and this, they gave me the job and it turns out I do the opposite to what I said I was going to do, I'll get fired. So how can, it's shocking that people aren't held accountable to what they say they're going to do. If you're voted in for saying what you're going to do and then you do the opposite, well, you misled everybody.
Yeah.
So I think it's really, really good that whether it's Trump or not, anybody, do what they say they're going to do.
Yeah.
And they are really pushing the Bitcoin agenda.
They are. Wow, we'll see. I thought that a big one would be opening 401ks up to
enormous.
Yeah.
So that, and I think we spoke before about there's little pockets of capital all around the world that can't touch Bitcoin. 401ks opening up is a great thing. So we were speaking about the UK SIP and ISA market that'll open up when they get the ETNs available. The insurance market is massive. that can't access it. So this is just another example of there's a huge pool of traditional capital that is prevented from accessing Bitcoin. So I think the 401k is like $12 trillion
huge
market.
Yeah.
So if you then have that, then bleeds into the rest of the markets around the world that allow similar things to happen. The accumulation of all of this there'll be so much capital that can actually access Bitcoin. Even a tiny percentage allocation from that will really move the price of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So the insurance, I mean, we discussed this last time, $50 trillion worth of funds doesn't touch Bitcoin. So, only a tiny bit of that needs to flow in for it to make a difference.
Yeah. Oof. The wave is coming.
It really is. I genuinely think we're at the beginning of this still. We're really at the beginning. And so, where we are in 10 years, I won't bet, but it's going to be a lot higher than it is now.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I can't. It just kind of blows my mind to think about where it'll be in 10 years. I mean, the things that, we'll check back in.
See you when we're old.
So much rapid change that I'm like, what? Where are we going to be? It'll be interesting. All right, Halma. We got like a few. We can do a couple stories, I think. Next up, we're going to dive into the headlines from around the world. It's the Global Gist. Well, so Google Play is tightening its rules for cryptocurrency wallet apps. Starting October 29th, wallet providers in more than 15 regions, including the United States and the European Union, will need to hold specific licenses and follow industry standards. In the US, that means registering with the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network as a money services business or a money transmitter. In the EU, providers must register as a crypto asset service provider. These licenses come with strict requirements such as written anti-money laundering programs and, in some cases, more customer identity checks. Importantly, Google says the new policy does not apply to non-custodial wallets, the kind where users keep full control of their private keys. The company confirmed this after pushback from the crypto community and said it is updating its help pages to make the point clearer. Google Play has had a complicated relationship with crypto apps. It banned mining apps in 2018, removed crypto news apps in 2020 without explanation, and has taken down several deceptive services over the years. More recently, in 2023, it began allowing certain NFT-based games, but required clear disclosure and banned gambling-style elements that look like loot boxes. The updated rules highlight Google's increasing oversight of blockchain content. For developers, compliance will soon be mandatory if they want to reach global audiences through the Play Store. Okay, is this overreach from Google, do you think, or does it make sense? I think, interestingly, it's kind of sounded like a bit of a double negative. This does not apply for people who want for self-custody wallets. Right?
Yeah, that's fine. It's like you can't tell me, what bank account I have or, what actual physical wallet I have. So I think that's right. If you are an online business, like a non-custodial wallet, and you're going to mass market to people, I think there needs to be certain levels and checks in place. Like any regulatory body would make sure that people like Google are doing adequate checks on, AML, KYC, making sure that people have got adequate risk warnings.
Yeah.
So that's not unusual. I think that the fact that they've had to then face a bit of backlash, then clarify it's not non-custodial is probably why it's a story.
Yes.
What you'd probably find is that Google are being told what to do by the regulators above them. As much as I think it looks, maybe a little bit bad on Google, if they didn't do it and something went wrong, it would be even worse. And if they didn't do it and something went wrong for consumers, it would be even worse. And so that's a situation. I think we discussed it before. Regulation is good. Over-regulation is bad, no regulation is bad. So keeping consumers safe is got to be a forefront. Because let's face it, not everybody's an expert in crypto custody or Bitcoin custody.
For sure,
so
very
you've got
easy
to assume, you almost have to be in a position where you have to assume people aren't experts. If they were experts, then they probably would be doing non-custodial anyway. But I think it's good whilst it's an emerging asset class and it's an emerging technology that people that perhaps aren't experts do have a bit of protection and guidance.
There was a lot of scams happening, a lot of these, not pig butchering, but like kind of romance scams where or just any type of scam where you think you're investing. You download an app from the Play Store or Apple App Store, and it's like a fake trading platform where you think you're putting money in. It's not. It's being taken by the scammers. Then they're manipulating the numbers, and you're putting more money in, and it looks like the money goes up. And so the outcry was, how was I able to download this off Google Play and the Apple App Store? This shouldn't be allowed. And so I do think it is important, like you say, for them to make sure that what they have on their Play Stores and effectively on people's phones are safe apps.
Yeah, totally. And imagine in that instance, you'd be suing Google.
Exactly.
Or you'd be suing the App Store.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what they can't have.
Right.
Because that's bad reputationally, and it costs them money, and they'll have big problems if they allow or facilitate this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So they need to have a line whereby they're not overreaching, but they are keeping people safe.
Yeah.
Because there's opportunists in any currency, in any financial product. There's opportunists and scammers. You see this a lot with pension scammers. There's so many pension scammers. If you, for instance, try to move a pension from one provider to another, you'll probably get a letter from your pension company saying beware of scammers.
Interesting.
So this isn't just a crypto thing. This is a financial thing, full stop.
Yeah.
And even if you go to your bank and you try to withdraw loads of money, they'll want to know that you're not under duress by a scammer to get that money out. So I think this is not uncommon, but because it's Google, it's newsworthy. Because it's crypto, it's newsworthy. Because they had to then backtrack on the non-custodial, become a bit more newsworthy.
Yeah.
But it's not contentious in my opinion.
Okay. I like it. Anton, our producer above, what was that, your comment? I was distracted. We have time for one more. Oh, we're going to go to the bullish IPO story, which might be more fun.
Love this.
Yeah? Oh, great. Here we go. This is a big old long one about Norway that we were going to talk about.
Norway is so rich. They should hold Bitcoin.
Yeah, and they are, it seems like. Okay, here we go. So shares of cryptocurrency exchange Bullish made a strong debut on the New York Stock Exchange yesterday under the ticker BLSH. The stock opened at $102 in early trading, more than double its $37 initial public offering price, before closing at $68. Bullish had originally priced its IPO above expectations in the $32 to $33 range and increased the offering to 20.3 million shares due to stronger investor demand. That debut price valued the Cayman Islands-based exchange at about $5.4 billion. Major investment firms BlackRock and ARK Invest had shown interest in purchasing up to $200 million worth of shares. Bullish CEO Tom Farley told CNBC the latest growth in the crypto industry is being driven by institutional investors, large-scale players such as funds and banks, rather than everyday traders. Unlike retail-focused exchanges like Coinbase or Kraken, Bullish caters to institutional clients seeking exposure to digital assets while benefiting from centralized oversight and safeguards. Since launching in 2021, the exchange has handled over $1.2 trillion in trading volume. Analysts say the $1.1 billion raised in the IPO reflects growing institutional confidence in centralized crypto exchanges. I feel like I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. But yeah, this is exciting. What do you think of this?
Yeah, so this is an example of super serious people getting into the crypto world or Bitcoin world and merging those two things. So Tom Farley used to be in charge of the head of the New York Stock Exchange. So he even tweeted yesterday, like, who said I wouldn't be back at the NYSE? So you've got a really serious business catering for crypto and Bitcoin demand in the institutional world, led by a guy who's really serious from the institutional world. They have got an awful lot going for them. They've got a lot of money. They've got a lot of Bitcoin. And I think you've got to wonder who set the expectations, right? If their expectations were at $32 and they've settled back down to 68, you want to get somebody else making expectations. But it's an amazing thing. And this has come around because of the Trump administration is now in charge. So a lot of the crypto companies pre-Trump didn't IPO, and I spoke to quite a few of them in the lead up to the election, and they said if Trump wins and there's a pro-crypto administration, we'll IPO. So this is just another example of a really serious business now going to the next level, raising external capital. They're going to grow that business and they're going to use that money to really, really put their foot down whilst they've got a window open where you've got an administration really pushing for Bitcoin and crypto adoption. Got to give a special shout out to my man Chris Tyra, who was head of Fidelity Digital Assets when we first met him. They were the custody provider for our Bitcoin ETF. He's now head of strategy for Bullish, and he was up there on the bell ringing platform.
Oh, wow.
And it was so cool to see somebody
Yeah.
doing such a great thing, and all over the TV screens, probably all over Times Square,
Very
ringing the bell.
Yeah.
So yeah, really good. And I think only the other day there's another a crypto fund or a Bitcoin, digital asset fund called C1 Fund.
Okay.
They then went live on the New York Stock Exchange, and they listed their fund, led by a guy called Naj Kadawai, who I know. And so it's so cool seeing people you actually know in the crypto world now standing at maybe the most traditional finance place in the world, in Wall Street at the top of the bell ringing ceremony for the New York Stock Exchange. That's when you know you're here, because you're mainstream. If you're standing there ringing the bell, IPOing on the New York Stock Exchange on Wall Street, that's a serious thing. It's great. It's a great picture for the mantelpiece, isn't it?
Oh, nice. Yeah. I wonder if it had gone the other way. So that you were saying that they said that they would IPO if Trump won. I would assume that they would not IPO if Harris had won, for example. Could they have? Or is that just too risky? Was that why they wouldn't have?
I think they could have, but what they would have wanted is regulatory clarity.
Right.
So now you've got,
sense.
So as we discussed, I think last time, as a regulated entity, all you want is to know what the rules are.
Yeah.
You might agree or disagree with the rules, but as long as you know what they are, you can't get in trouble.
Right.
And so now you've got the real push for regulatory clarity. That then means that these companies can now know, right, this is the rule set. We've got probably 4, maybe 8 years, depending on who wins the next election, of positivity. Now's the time to go.
Yeah,
and that's where you've seen a few of them have now started to really put their foot down, and they will. And I expect a few more will do this over the coming months, and probably 18 months or so.
Yeah. Because
if you're already established, you've then got, even if you did it in 18 months' time, you've probably then still got 2 years of a pro-crypto and pro-Bitcoin administration. And then you've got 2 years to then grow the business whilst being a listed entity, even before there's another election.
I can't imagine that any candidate would come in and be anti crypto Bitcoin at this point, like with this momentum that's happening.
Well, so, and the wealth it's creating, right?
Exactly.
Because there'll be some big donations being made, and you generally buckle to where the donations come from, typically, don't you?
Yeah.
So I agree. I think that my hope is it gets so far in the next few years while the Trump administration's in office that there's absolutely no way it could ever go back, because it does such great things for, firstly, America, but then that then seeps into the rest of the world.
It also needs to maintain, there can't be some outright catastrophic something, because that
we can't have another FTX.
Exactly, because
so that would withdraw institutional confidence.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I expect they'll carry on. I don't know if they're going to do a Bitcoin treasury strategy. They've already got a lot of Bitcoin. Maybe they'll adopt that as well, because that seems to pump up everyone else's share price. But as a business, so they own a few areas of, they own Bullish, they own the exchange, they own CoinDesk, so they've got their own media outlet. They do Consensus, which is another big conference around the world.
Oh, cool.
So they've got a, not too dissimilar setup to the guys at Bitcoin Inc. Who've got the conferences, they've got the magazine. They're going to IPO a treasury company. So you just see that this administration now being in place, setting the rules out, saying we're going to be friendly to you, has really got everybody moving in America.
Are there any other IPOs on the horizon that you know of or think?
There's an interesting IPO in the UK I learned about yesterday. Another Bitcoin treasury company plans to launch end of August.
Okay.
So that just came up in the IPO news yesterday. A friend of mine will be the CEO.
Do you know anything
about Not sure how public it is yet, though, so maybe I'll read it first. But it should, if it was publicly, you probably know him actually. But really, really credible guy, really big Bitcoiner.
Excellent.
Load of integrity. I'll check on whether I'm meant to say anything about it yet or not, but then next time I'll tell you what it is if I am.
Oh, sorry, we're at 2:00, so you don't have to get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if it's in if you read about it somewhere, then it's obviously
Well, he sent me it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, but it was it wasn't.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I'll reread it. We'll see where we get to. I'll tell you after.
Something is happening. You didn't say any names, so that's fine.
Yeah. But I would imagine this is going to carry on. It seems that legal precedents have been set. No going back.
Yeah.
Barring an absolute Bitcoin catastrophe like some sort of scandal.
Yeah.
Which, you would hope the bad actors have been exited.
Yeah.
And then, we should, with clear, concise regulation, tailwinds, the good actors pushing forward.
Yeah.
We're in for a good few years, in my opinion.
Yeah, I see that for sure.
Good.
Woo! Exciting. Well, Peter, thank you. As always, where can people follow you and find more about you?
So I'm all over that. I keep saying this. Bitcoin Twitter is 5 years ahead of the rest of the world.
Yeah.
I'm reasonably active on there. I love finding out new things on there. The people that you can interact with and just talk to. It's just an unbelievably open space. So
how long are you on the Bitcoin Twitter a day?
Oh, too long. So the issue is when you wake up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's bad.
Because you've got 24-hour news feed, right? So if you're up early, you can see what the Asian market's doing.
Yeah.
If you're up in the middle of the night, you can have a look at what the American market's doing. And so it's never ending, isn't it?
You're going to have to put your phone in a lockbox and just have some cut-off time.
Well, last night it was so hot last night, I woke up, and I think my time zones aren't quite right. So I've been waking up religiously 2 till 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And as soon as you get scrolling, you're like, that's interesting.
Yeah, it'll get
and
you.
There's rabbit holes galore to go down.
But yeah, sorry, I think we do have it up here. Your ex. Oh,
there we go.
Gone now.
Oh, gone.
Well, okay, can you just say it for us? Just.
I don't know. I didn't even know. Peter Lane, 1985, I think.
Peter Lane, 1985. That's right. We've talked about this before. Well, thank you so much, as always. Great speaking with you.
You too.
Thank you for watching, everybody. We will be back tomorrow. Actually, no, I was like, is it Friday already? No, we're Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow at 1. Excellent. And stay tuned for The Great Awakening with Nolan. Take care. Bye.